Ndị Igbo mụrụ nze m ọzọ ekene m unu. Asị m na n'Igbo ya adị ise ise ise. Achimeka unu mara na ya bụ Eastern News 24 bụ ebe anyị si na-ewetara unu ya bụ ozi gbasịta maka ya bụ ife na-ada na-akpọtụ n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya and nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ n'iru akwụkwọ. N'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke tata bụ 16th of October 2024. anyị si ndị Igbo daalụ no. Alright, anyị agbapụ na ọsọ igosi na ya bụ ife ya bụ international discussion maka Maazị Nnamdi Kanu and masịta maka ka ihe si aga n'ikpe ya. So mma etinyere unu ya bụ ife ka unu ga-eliru akwụkwọ because ọ bụ nkwa ikwu na gị na-enye update, gị na-enye daily update n'iru akwụkwọ gbasịta maka ka o si ada na-akpọtụ. Dịka ihe ga ya bụ ife ga-esi anyị dụrọpụrụ anyị ife ichere n'ụdị nke gị gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị anyị je ga-enu n'iru akwụkwọ ụmụnne anyị kọwagasị na international media. All right, over to you.
The Kanu appeared in court. He categorically stated no court in Nigeria can try him.
Of course.
Under what premise was he making that pronouncement?
Because the particular evidence which they have brought against Nnamdi Kanu about jurisdiction have been nullified. That was why they withdrew it in their charge. Because for you to say that where did he commit this offense? That is very important in this type of trial. You cannot say that somebody where did you steal this property? It's a criminal charge. I hope you know. You cannot say that where did you commit this offense? It is very important. If you cannot identify where the offense was committed, then what are you doing? What are you trying? That is the problem here. The federal government know that no matter how they detain Nnamdi Kanu, they cannot wriggle out of that. And they do not come and say, okay, Nnamdi Kanu, or you go home, just like they did for Shawore. They can't do that. After they have messed up everything, they are afraid that Nnamdi Kanu may institute a case against them for renditioning him from Kenya. Are you getting it now? These are the quagmire the federal government are in now. And that is why they are finding it difficult to even look. All this thing about Nnamdi Kanu is looking for a judge and all that. My dear, it is not necessary. I have a president here.
Hello everyone, my people, I don't come again today. Is a joke. Nigeria government and then they gonna discuss though that and who's trying my babies. Nigeria knows if they don't get any to do for or against the Nambican and they still want become big. These people for themselves, but they shame me. Anyway, did that Nyako say Inobo do again? Nnamdi will say no one like beat that Nyako do again for a matter. Make it big than that or come out and be big than that come run because if you look it goes, he say big and Nyako don't wait there for Ireland come out. And I want back you remember say this case. Be unable say in no get anything when you will do against Nnamdi and the line make it be panya or suggest say make them all meet whether justice federal justice whether that all I'm saying for but they settle up of court of which Nnamdi can concrete millions concrete but then go they never tell us wicked that happen. Maybe say Nigeria don't want make Nnamdi Kanu comment. Then go get anything for Nnamdi Kanu. They just the waka up and down below for excuse to keep him for detention. Now you no get power to judge Nnamdi Kanu. You no get power to try him because the law of say if you try him, you be terrorist. Now we say if you want try you go first of all. I am go back to Kenya. You go first of all. But for another part go try. My people, we're gonna listen to this one before we go. But tell me what you think. If this conversation, don't forget like and always follow us for here. Now here we the Obunde station.
Now, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Tosho, has reportedly declined Justice Binta Nyako's request to step down from presiding over the trial of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Justice Tosho has instructed that the case be returned to Justice Binta Nyako, deeming her the best fit to continue overseeing the proceedings. Now, a reliable source who chose to remain anonymous informed Daily Post, an online news platform, about the decision today, revealing several reasons behind the Chief Judge's choice. According to this source, Justice Tosho's refusal to reassign the case was based on key considerations. One, that two other judges were previously recused from the case, that the case has lingered for too long from 2015. Number three, that the case has pended most with Justice Binta, thus making her the most suited or best placed judge to handle and conclude the case. However, the Chief Judge has also directed that if at the next hearing of the case, Nnamdi Kanu still insists on recusing Binta Nyako, he must file a written motion with an affidavit stating all the grounds for requesting the recusal. You'll recall that Justice Nyako recently withdrew herself from the case after Kanu openly expressed doubts regarding her ability to impartially handle his trial, citing a lack of confidence in her judgment. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM, and of course it's time for a news analysis segment, and I have right here in the studio Barrister Darlington Agumor, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. Barrister Darlington, good afternoon and welcome to the World News at 12.
Good afternoon, Esther. How are you?
I am fine. Let's start up with this particular controversial case. You know that the news today has been riddled with all court cases. Apparently, most of the cases were held simultaneously earlier today because we've been hearing the rulings from all the court judgments. Now, let's look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu. The Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Tosho, has reportedly declined Binta Nyako's, recusal from his case. Now, he gave three valid reasons as to why he is reassigning Justice Nyako back to Nnamdi Kanu's case. He said that two other judges, right, have been previously recused from the case. That is, the first two judges who were handling Nnamdi Kanu's case, they've recused themselves, and that the case has lingered for too long, meaning that the case has been in court since 2015, and that the case mostly pended with Justice Binta Nyako, meaning that for the longest time she's been the one handling the case, so she understands the case better than any other judge who may have to come in, because if a judge comes in now, the judge may want to start afresh and they will start postponing and assigning new dates. Now, the judge now said that if Justice Binta Nyako comes back to the case and Nnamdi Kanu still deems her unfit or deems her biased in continuing with the case, he needs to sign an affidavit on the grounds of requesting that recusal. What do you think this means? What's going to happen now?
Thank you, Esther. It is the right of everybody that is standing trial to be comfortable with the trial court or judge.
All right.
But if in the course of this trial you discover that you may not get fair hearing from this judge or this court, you can ask for the judge to excuse herself or himself from the matter.
But what Justice John Tosho is saying is that there have been two other judges that have recused themselves from this case. The second thing he said is that the case has lingered for so long, since 2015, that what a lot of critical, logical thinkers will be like, if this case has lingered for so long, is it Nnamdi Kanu's fault that the case has lingered for this long? So what exactly is wrong that they've not been able to surmise and conclude his case?
It is very obvious. It's like the federal government is shopping for evidence against Nnamdi Kanu.
They're shopping for evidence since 2015?
Yes.
You want to tell me that you detain somebody, you incarcerate somebody, and you don't have strong evidence to take that person to trial?
That is the modus operandi when you don't have a strong evidence against a suspect or a defendant.
Barrister Darlington, who was the first Attorney General of the Federation that took this case to the court? Was it not the former Minister of Justice, Malami?
Amalami, of course, he was part of those who renditioned him from Kenya.
What were the strong points? What was the local standard for his incarceration?
Good. It was because that rendition, the people that went for him in Kenya, they didn't even know the crime they committed themselves. It was when the court now said that, look, you people committed offense against this young man. That what you did was an international crime against him. And that we don't even have a law to try Nnamdi for what you are saying.
Okay.
And it was when the court now, because jurisdiction is very important when you are going for this type of trial.
Exactly.
When they now realize that the offense you have charged this man for was committed in London. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
And they now realize that if they move on with this case, they cannot succeed. So they remove London. If you have not removed London, so what are you now going to try Nnamdi for? Esther, that is the crux of the matter. Except they can be able to resolve that jurisdiction, they can't get Nnamdi anywhere. And so when the court now explained this to the prosecutors, they became now ashamed. They don't know whether to return Nnamdi to Kenya or to free him or to continue with the case. That is the quagmire they are in, because it was the court that told them this. So based on that fact, now the federal government are looking for any other thing. Maybe they are looking for Nnamdi to commit one thing in prison or the other. They will now say, okay, since you are in prison, look at what you have done in prison. That is the reason why the detention have prolonged for this long. And the other two judges that excused themselves from this, did you see the reason why Nnamdi gave? That they are biased. And it's because these judges knew. That was why they excused themselves. So if Justice Tosho is now saying that Nnamdi should now write and give affidavit, and the other two judges that excused themselves, did you follow the same procedure?
Barrister Darlington, in 2022, you know Nnamdi was renditioned in 2021.
Yes.
In 2022, Nnamdi actually requested from the DSS for an oral testimony as to his deteriorating health condition.
Yes.
At that time, he was requesting to be taken out of the DSS custody to possibly Kirikiri or any other correctional center while his case continues in court. Now, the DSS rejected that particular request. The DSS rejected Nnamdi request for oral evidence from the DSS.
Yes.
On several occasions, there have been impediments as to how this case can continue. The first one being the fact that they have alluded that he was the one responsible for the conflict in the southeast. Thereby, it was important for them to continue to his detainment to curtail the upheaval in the southeast. But as it stands now, the fact that he is still incarcerated, it has not ameliorated the security challenges in the southeast. If that is the case, why have they not accelerated his hearing since 2015? Now, Justice John Soko Tosho is saying now that possibly because it has taken too long, that Binta Nyako is in the best position to handle it. When this case got to the Supreme Court, why was it taken back to the Federal High Court? Why did the court eventually ask the Attorney General of the Federation to refile? That they didn't go about it in the first instance. So whose fault is it that it has lingered for this long?
It is the fault of the federal government. I told you here that shopping for evidence against Nnamdi all these things that they are saying up and down, it is not strong enough to convict Nnamdi It's not possible. Even the Supreme Court was against how they now withdrew Nnamdi bail. The Supreme Court said that it was wrong for them to have withdrawn his bail after hearing all the argument on both sides. And that's why the Supreme Court said they should go back, and that Nnamdi should even sue the federal government. He should institute a civil suit against the federal government. All this is in public domain.
The last time Nnamdi appeared in court, he categorically stated no court in Nigeria can try him.
Of course.
Under what premise was he making that pronouncement?
Because the particular evidence which they have brought against Nnamdi about jurisdiction have been nullified. That was why they withdrew it in their charge. Because for you to say that where did he commit this offense? That is very important in this type of trial. You cannot say that somebody where did you steal this property? It's a criminal charge. I hope you know. You cannot say that where did you commit this offense? It is very important. If you cannot identify where the offense was committed, then what are you doing? What are you trying? That is the problem here. The federal government know that no matter how they detain Nnamdi they cannot wriggle out of that. And they do not come and say, okay, Nnamdi or you go home, just like they did for Shawore. They can't do that. after they have messed up everything. They are afraid that Nnamdi Kanu may institute a case against them for renditioning him from Kenya. Are you getting it now? These are the quagmire the federal government are in now. And that is why they are finding it difficult to even look. All this thing about Nnamdi Kanu is looking for a judge and all that. My dear, it is not necessary. I have a president here. Tompolo, government Tompolo.
Exactly.
Was tried in absentia and sentenced. He didn't appear in court for 1 day.
And nothing happened.
I'm telling you, the federal government tried him in absentia and was sentenced. Unfortunately, that same man is doing contract for the federal government today. Esther, how do you justify all this thing for God's sake? How do you? I'm talking of those who have held arms against the federal government. Arms.
Serious arms.
So,
we even have persons who are like non-state actors. We have Asari Dokubo telling us he has men, he has RPGs. He said it openly via his social media account, and nobody has called him to question. Nobody has asked where his facility is, where he's storing those RPGs.
The one I discussed yesterday on my program was this one about terrorists who were rehabilitated into our military, running away with the gun they gave them a motorcycle. Esther, can you define this in any form or shape? That they told us yesterday that they have sworn with the Quran, they have been de-radicalized, they are that, they are this, they are born again.
Now they've reintegrated.
Yes, they ran away with the guns, Esther, guns purchased with our taxpayers' money and motorcycle. What was the reason? They said what they told them before they joined them is not what they are hearing. So what was the promise made to them? I'm talking of terrorists. Terrorists.
So, Barrister Darlington, in this particular matter now, since Justice John Soho has, asked that Justice Binta Nyako comes back to that particular case, what if she declines to come back? What then happens?
The choice is hers.
The choice is hers?
Yes.
In this particular instance, initially she was not the one who asked to recuse herself. Justice Nnamdi Kanu, who boldly stated in the court that he doesn't trust her judgment, right? Now, and of course, he ruled out certain factors as to why he doesn't trust her presiding over his case. And she said, if that is what you want, I would step down. But do you think that she's going to obey this chief judge of the Federal High Court order to return to Nnamdi Kanu's case?
In fact, Nnamdi Kanu and his lawyers, they already have something to hold on to.
And what is that?
Good. This particular judge initially suggested that they should go and seek for political solution to this problem.
Yes.
For a judge to say that, it means that she had looked at this case and see that it's not going anywhere. That is the first thing everybody should know. If she know that this matter, there is a strong evidence against Nnamdi Kanu, she wouldn't have made that suggestion.
Okay, Barrister.
Now, listen.
Okay.
Now, before this time, a certain Nnamdi was on air, everywhere, on social media. He revealed that this same judge told him that that this matter is not going anywhere because the federal government cannot succeed in their charge against Nnamdi Kanu. Up till now, nobody has come to say it's a lie. Up till now. So on what basis will the judge continue? Already there is this moral burden now on her. Yes. There's nothing she will do about that case after all this evidence. I'm telling you, there's nothing she will do about this matter. After this one, there is nothing.
Barrister Darlington, let me bring your mind back. You will recall that when the same judge had requested that Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government or the Attorney General of the Federation try to come through what you call a truce, a political truce. I remember at the time, the rancor was the fact that Nnamdi Kanu never said that he wants to have a possible conversation or negotiation with the federal government. Do you think that maybe his legal team did not approach the Attorney General of the Federation? Because I remember that time, what was in the news was Nnamdi Kanu can never go and meet the federal government because he has done nothing wrong or whatever. Is it about pride now or ego? Because if his team did not reach out to the Attorney General of the Federation, or possibly his team is waiting for the Attorney General of the Federation to reach out to him and that did not happen, is this why we're seeing this case being prolonged? No, don't look for something that is not missing. Okay. The Kanu's team, legal team, they have approached the Attorney General. Okay. We also it. Ejimako compiled all the judgment in favor of Nnamdi Kanu, none of them, and he had taken it to the man. Even some lawmakers headed by Abaribe, they are going to meet the Attorney General, and the man promised them that they will look into it.
and that was after that suggestion by the judge.
Yes.
So what else are they delaying? Okay, did they offer Nnamdi Kanu anything and he said no, I don't want?
Maybe there are some. Do you think there are some conditions that he doesn't want to abide by in the conversation they're having?
Please, I told you, don't look for something that's not missing. We have not had anything from the federal government that Nnamdi Kanu refused, or anything that was suggested to Igbo people and the Igbo elder, and they said no, we don't want this. Nothing was just from the federal government. When Sowore was released, was there any condition? They just entered the nolly prosecute and the man was let off the hook, discharged and acquitted. So what is delaying Nnamdi Kanu's case? Since you know you cannot win this case against him, why are you delaying the matter?
That's a very big question.
Yes.
What exactly is delaying this case?
Telling you,
why the back and forth?
Yes.
Back and forth. If they have evidence against him, why don't you present it and accelerate the trial?
Telling me that we have two other cases. Dasuki, until today.
Dasuki.
Did you see him in court? Until they asked him to go.
Exactly.
And Mustafa.
Darius Ishaku too.
All of them. They have been let go. So what is delaying Nnamdi Kanu's case? So anybody who is telling you that Nnamdi Kanu refused is a lie. We have not had anything from the federal government.
All right, Barrister.
They believe that when they break Nnamdi Kanu's spirit in detention, maybe he will now do one thing or the other. They will now hold something against him. They are working towards an answer. They are working because everybody have told them release this man before the inevitable happens. Because if something happens to this man, please, how will the federal government defend it? Remember that the United Nations have written concerning Nnamdi Kanu in this matter. United Nations
and some letters.
Yes, US and UK have waded into this matter, yet they remain adamant. What do you think is going on here? If there is a strong lady, nobody will even intervene in Nnamdi Kanu case. Nobody will support a terrorist anywhere in the world. But look at how they are pampering those in the north. Esther, just imagine. The whole world is watching what is going on.
So you're saying that there is a geographical preference in this case?
Is it not obvious? Is it not obvious? What else are we talking about here? All these things that they are throwing out by all these legal shenanigans, it will not help this case. It will not. They believe that when they keep in Nnamdi Kanu, maybe their detention will stop. Esther, has it stopped? Has it stopped? That will tell you that there is 1,001 Nnamdi Kanu waiting to take over from him, and it may not be as quiet as it is now.
Ndị be anyị ngwa daalụlụ nnenu ụmụ Igbo, anyị na-ekelekwu nnukwu isi were esoyere anyị si unu daalụ ụmụnne m. Anyị ka efi were ekwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị niile nọ n'elu akwụkwọ. Ọ bụ na ife anyị echetakwa na ọ bụ na ife anyị na-eme na adị unu mma ka paara ka ịtụsa ya bụ ozi ka ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ na-anụkwa ife na-eme n'obodo, na-anụkwa ka o si ada. Ka ifi were ekwu n'ụdị nke gị gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị a niile nọ n'elu akwụkwọ na Eastern News 24. Ka ifi were ikwu gwa ife iche n'ụdị nke gị na Eastern News 24 ka ife ichelụ. Ọzọ dịka ibe ya bụ asịmana Igbo dịnụ ise.